What's going on, everybody? Mr. Octagonal here, and today we are back on NCAA Football 14 with the Westlake Hornets Teambuilder Dynasty. I know it's been a minute, aka a week and a half, but for good reason. The recruiting special is today. I've worked hard on this video for a while now. It has been in the works for a good week or so, and this recruiting special will be like none other before on this channel. We have a few special guests today who have scouted all across the country looking at potential Westlake recruits. They include Royal and Poison, Franchise Gaming, TNJ, and Uncle Sim's Reject Gaming. I will leave all of their links to their channels in the description. Make sure to go sub to them. If you like my content, I'm sure you'll like theirs as well. So, without further ado, let's get this show on the road.
Hello everyone, it's Royal and Poison aka RMP, and I just want to give a quick thank you to Octi for allowing me to do this with the other scouts. And today I'm going to be showing you the west region of recruits today that our Westlake Hornets will be going after. First up, we have Carter Westwood, the Burmester, Utah native. Westwood is only a junior, but he's still one of the best receivers in the nation. He has very nice hands and speed off the outside. He needs to improve on his route running a little bit, but other than that, he's a very special player. Of course, he's the cousin of Stephen Westwood, a quarterback who's being redshirted for our Hornets. He's also related to Arizona tight end Braxton Westwood, BYU commit Orlando Westwood, and potential Westlake commit Arch Westwood. Now, we will be taking a look at the number 2 cornerback in the nation, Richard Richards. Yes, that is his name. This will be a challenging battle for Westlake with Stanford and Oregon ahead of him, but nonetheless, this kid is special. He's a really solid athlete with great coverage and ball skills. There aren't many glaring weaknesses with him, but he could use some work in his run support. He's not a phenomenal tackler and certainly needs work in that area. Now, let's head over and take a look at wide receiver Zeke Bowman. Zeke is a type of receiver who I really like. He's a height/weight/speed monster. He's a very well-rounded, and other than his size, he has a lot of similarities to current Westlake receiver Nigel Wiggins. If there was something he needs to work on, it's probably his yak ability. He isn't that good with the ball in his hands. Luckily for Westlake, no other team has offered him a scholarship, and it looks like Zeke will be a Hornet. Now, we have an absolute monster. The top defensive tackle in the nation is Joaquin Tejada. He has insane power inside and is a problem for opposing offenses in both the pass and the run game. A player this good seems too good to be true for Westlake, right? Well, the Hornets have a really solid chance of getting him. It's currently a 2-team race between Westlake and Texas A&M, with the latter having a slight lead. Not to mention, he was high school teammates with Westlake linebacker Lewis Kong at one point. That team must have been absolutely terrifying. That'll do for me, and thanks for listening, and go Hornets.
What's going on, everybody? It's Jay from TNJ, and today I'm going to be looking at the East region for Westlake recruiting. The first guy we have on our list is Kez October. Yeah, that's right. He's the younger brother of Westlake defensive tackle Octavius October and former Miami Dolphin linebacker Quantavius October. So Kez has plenty of similarities to Octavius, who is starting at defensive tackle as a true freshman. His power and strength are pretty scary, and I gotta admit, opposing offensive lines have a lot of trouble handling him. But he's not the most athletic, kind of similar to his brothers, but he's gonna be a really good collegiate player. And you know, the Hornets are his only scholarship, so it looks like he's going to be donning that black and gold on Saturdays. Next up, we have the number 11 athlete in the country, John Cummings. I like this kid. He's likely going to be a cornerback because he's pretty good in zone coverage, but as an athlete, I wish he did have more offensive skills. But nonetheless, he's very talented on defense as a defensive back. Westlake should be able to get him pretty easily, but like Kez, it's not really a guarantee because Old Dominion in Georgia have shown interest in him and they're pursuing him, but it looks like he's going to be a Hornet. Next up is another defensive back, actually the number 2 cornerback in the nation, Sean Irons out of McAlester, New York. And unlike October and Cummings, it's not looking good for Westlake. Stanford has a pretty nice lead, but if the Hornets find a way to pull this through, they're getting one of the best cornerbacks I've ever seen come out of high school in the recent seasons. And Irons has nice height. He has good hands, good speed, good overall athleticism. He doesn't really have a true weakness. But if I did have to point one thing out, it's probably his toughness. He misses plenty of tackles, will definitely need to clean that up, and he tries to avoid contact. So, in order to be successful at the next level, he's going to need to be less of an athlete and more of a football player. Now, the final player I'm taking a look at is Reggie Herman, better known as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air in Florida. He's very, very explosive. His team uses him in a number of ways on the offensive side of the ball, whether it's a receiver, running back, wildcat quarterback. He can do it all. His only weakness is his speed, and he runs about a 4.6 40, which isn't awful, but for a player his caliber, you'd like to see just a little bit more speed when it comes down to it. Westlake should be able to get him pretty easily, but USC and Georgia are still in play, and they could make a run on him, and we'll see how that finishes out for us. But that'll do it for my portion of the recruiting special. This is Jay from T&J signing out. See you guys soon.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Uncle Sam's Reject Gaming here, and we're going to be looking at the central region of recruiting. The first player we will be spotlighting here in this scouting report is Dante Rollins. Rollins is the top outside linebacker in the nation. He's a freak off the edge. He's super quick and very athletic, and his acceleration is off the charts. If he gets better time and jumping off the edge with his acceleration, it's over for the opposing offense. It's currently a 3-team race for Dante Rollins, as Arizona, Westlake, and Oregon are in a dogfight to get the recruit. The next guy we're going to be looking at is running back Isaiah Sparks. Sparks is from Detroit, Michigan. Although he's only a junior, he's still one of the top backs in the country. He's extremely speedy, elusive, and explosive. He's not very big, standing at 5'9", 170. He's also not good after contact. He isn't really that strong. He's basically Dante Savage, but tiny. Speaking of Savage, could Sparks be his replacement? Well, we'll have to see next year when the Sparks sweepstakes officially begins. And last but not least, the final guy we will be covering from this region, Jared Adams. He's a 4-star athlete from the Mesa, Texas. He's a really good, versatile player. I'm not sure if he'll play offense, defense, or both in college. On defense, he's great in coverage. He's been a first-team All-State corner for the last 2 years. And offensively, he has led the state in rushing so far this season, as he is very agile and quick in the backfield. He still has some work to do as a receiving back, as he's dropped plenty of easy passes this season. He also only has 1 career interception, so if he can improve his hands, he'll be unstoppable. His skill set has warranted interest from many teams. Oklahoma State is the current favorite to land him, but Westlake, Tulsa, Louisiana Lafayette, and Louisiana Tech have interest in him as well. That's going to do it for me here, guys. Thank you for having me and listening to my scouting report. I'm Uncle Sam's Reject Gaming once again. Have a good day, everybody. I'm out of here. Peace.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's FG, and today I'm going to be covering some of the guys who have insta-committed to our Westlake Hornets. First up, we have Nick Gardner. Now, Gardner is a big edge rusher who is really good at run stopping. He led the state of Georgia in tackles for loss this season, and he's a menace getting into the backfield, just unstoppable. He has plenty of work to do as a pass rusher, but Westlake knows how to develop pass rushers, so I believe he'll be in good hands with our Hornets. Next up, we got Dylan Washington. Now, Washington is a Brighton, Colorado native. He's a very talented linebacker who could see starting time once guys like Lawrence McCoon and Lewis Kang are gone. The good thing about that is Dylan is very raw. He's a phenomenal athlete and extremely quick off the edge, but other than that, he has a lot of work to do. Last but certainly not least, we're going to look at safety Jacques Vallone. Now, Jacques is a 4-star as the number 2 strong safety in the entire nation. My favorite part about his game is the intensity that he brings day in and day out. He's an old school football player and one of the toughest kids in the country. He can lay the boom on ball carriers. He brings a similar intimidation factor that Westlake senior linebacker Owen Jackson brings to the table as well. The opposing team wants nothing to do with his monster hit power, and Valone is very similar in that way. That's all I have for you guys. Thanks for having me, Octagonal. I am out. This is FG once again, and let's go Westlake.
Once again, I want to give a massive thank you to those 4 guys for helping me with this video. And remember, their links are in the description. If you're not already subscribed to them, go click that big red sub button. So now here's my portion of the recruiting board, what I think of these guys, starting with the quarterback position, and there's none on the board for good reason. Westlake is good at quarterback right now with Peyton Curtis, and then once he goes, they already have the future. They have options, actually, with both Rodney Allen and Steven Westwood. So Westlake has more than one guy who they think can be the long-term quarterback of this team once Peyton Curtis graduates. Looking at running back, another position that the Hornets are good in, as they have the two-headed monster of Dante Savage and Patrick Daly, both of whom are redshirt sophomores, and especially with Isaiah Sparks coming out next season, running back isn't a huge need. Now, there is one on the board, Ken Williams from Kings Point, Florida, the number 2 back in the nation, and it's only a 2-team battle between us and Georgia, and neither side is really going after him too hard, which is why we're still in this battle. No fullback on the board. Wide receiver, there are 4, not including Carter Westwood. Of course, he will be in next year's recruiting class. So starting off with Titus Moss. He's the number 4 receiver in the nation. He doesn't impress me that much. I think he has the talent of an average 4-star. Not super athletic. Not that good with the ball in his hand. 67 spin, 65 juke, 47 stiff arm. And looking at his catching stats, good spec catch, good catch in traffic, good route running, good release. But his hands are meh. And other than some of those receiving statistics, other than catching, he's not that talented of a receiver. And I see why. He only has 1 scholarship, which is us, and we should get him. Then there's Jared Jackson, who is far different from Titus Moss. When the ball is in this kid's hands, he is hard to stop. From Ogden, Utah, that option offense, Jackson has more carries this season than receptions, and he has been good in both the run and the receiving game, and I think he could be a good get for Westlake. Currently a 2-team battle between us and the Kansas Jayhawks. We have a first visit, so we can get back in this battle. Next up, we got Zeke Bowman from Las Vegas, Nevada, and RMP talked about him, and he is extremely well-rounded, 88 speed, 83 catching. Some of his receiving stats need to go up, but other than that, he's a really good player. And he's another guy who Westlake's the only team going after him, and I don't get that. I think he is talented enough for more teams to be warranting his skill set. And then there's also Deontay Coleman. This battle Westlake's not looking particularly good in, as Virginia Tech and Navy have nice leads. But that's 94 speed, man. That's hard to come by. Tight end, none on the board, Ronald Young. He will be the starter there for the next 3 years, unless he declares, which I don't see happening. Then on the offensive line, the only tackle Westlake's going after is Michael Jefferson. UCLA should get him. Buffalo in the race as well. Then left guard, Steven Allen, the top guard in the country. He is already committed to Westlake. I'm surprised I didn't have FG go into more detail about him, but he is really good, especially in the passing game. I could see him starting pretty early in his career, maybe as a redshirt freshman. Then center, another insta-commit, the 3-star Willie Wiggins. He's another talented player, and he's still quite raw, but I like his upside. On to the defensive line. 2 guys here on the board. Corey Goodwin, he is pretty much set to go to Utah. Not much to say about him. But then another Georgia defensive end, Nick Gardner, the number 3 defensive end in the nation. Westlake has already committed him. And FG said he is a very good run stopper, but not much of a pass rusher. And I totally agree. Gardner is a force getting to the backfield, but he needs to work on his ability to get to the quarterback. Looking at D-tackle, Joaquin Tejada, an RMP, had a lot of good things to say about him, but I don't think you can say enough about this guy. He's an incredible athlete, really, really talented player. He could start as a true freshman, we'll have to see. And then Kez October, the younger brother of Octavius, who's currently starting at D-tackle for Westlake. And it looks like the brothers will be teammates as Westlake is the only team in this battle. Kez is not a phenomenal athlete, but 98 power moves. 98, that's a large number. Looking at outside linebacker, Dante Rollins, Uncle Sam's reject, talked about him. The top outside linebacker in the nation. He's a 5-star, 82 speed, 97 acceleration. But you want to see something more cheesy? 85 and 98 for Dylan Washington, an insta-commit. FG talked about him. I think Washington's a little bit better than Dante Rollins, to be honest. I think they're both great, but I think Washington's a little bit more talented. And Westlake already has him, whereas Rollins is a pretty close 3-team battle between us, Arizona, and Oregon. And there's also Arch Westwood, who is, of course, related to Steven, Carter, Braxton, Orlando, all the Westwood family. He'll be going either Westlake or BYU. So he'll either team up with Steven, who, of course, is with us, or Orlando, who insta-committed with BYU. Middle linebacker, only one on the board, Peter Ivey, 3-team race between us, Florida State, and Texas. Neither team is going after him too hard. Then cornerback. There's 5 really good players here, starting with Richard Richards, who is a monster. Number 2 corner in the nation. RMP talked about this guy, and he is a beast. 90 speed, 89 excel, 88 man, 88 zone, 90 press. Westlake wants this guy bad, and it's going to be tough. Stanford and Oregon have a nice lead, but there's still a chance. Then there's Terrence Thibodeau, 6'2". Mississippi State is likely getting a really good player, but Westlake is still in this battle. 94 speed, 79 man, 84 zone. The Hornets really want this kid. We have the first visit for both Thibs and Richards, so there's still a chance. Then there's Jason Poole, 6'1". He has 93 speed. He's a little bit better in coverage than Terrence Thibodeau, and this should be a little bit easier of a race with Westlake, as his main competition is going to be Oklahoma and Central Michigan. Then the Mac truck, Mac Terry, and he is literally a truck. Phenomenal in run support. He can lay the boom, and he is no slouch in coverage either. Oklahoma State also in this battle. They have a slight lead. And then Sean Irons. TNJ went into more detail about him, and he is a phenomenal player. 6'1", number 9 corner in the nation, 92 speed, 84 man, 84 zone. But Westlake might have to give up on this battle soon. Stanford is a nice lead, and they also have the first visit. So as long as that visit goes half decent, they'll be playing for Stanford without a doubt. So Westlake may need to stop going after him shortly. Then at 3 safety, the only one on the board is Kevin Blanchard. Westlake needs him because he is from South Carolina. They're in danger of losing that state. Currently, it's a 2-team battle between us and Georgia. And then it's strong safety, Jacques Vallone, insta-commit. FG talked about the intensity that this kid brings to the game, and he's right. I mean, a hit power. He rocks a Leighton Vander Esch style neck brace, and he is Owen Jackson if Owen Jackson played safety. So he should be a very fun player. Then athlete, currently going after 4, starting with John Cummings. TNJ went over him, and he's a really interesting player. I could probably see him playing in the secondary, maybe running back as well. This is a battle that Westlake should win, but I feel like Westlake should give him a little bit of extra attention these next few weeks because Old Dominion is his first visit. If Westlake can lock him up by week 9, I think that would be pretty huge. Then there's Reggie Herman. TNJ also went over him. He is really skilled as an offensive player. He only has 85 speed, but other than that, can't ask for much more with this guy. And USC and Stanford are going after him, but I'd be pretty shocked if Westlake doesn't end up landing him. Then there's Jared Adams. Uncle Sam's reject went over him. And this is a crowded battle, and for good reason, as all the teams that offer him scholarships are Oklahoma State, Westlake, Tulsa, UL Lafayette, Louisiana Tech, UL Monroe, and LSU. LSU is the only giant school in there other than us, and I'd be very surprised if he goes to LSU. And then of those other 6 teams, Oklahoma State is the only other Power 5 school. So this is a battle that we can realistically win. I assume he'll go to either Westlake or Oklahoma State, unless one of those other surprise teams somehow lands him. And he is talented. He can play the secondary, running back, receiver. And there are so many ways a team could use him, and I think that's why he's so special and why a bunch of teams are going after him. And then there's Wesley Thomas. Westlake is the only team that's shown any interest in him. He's only 6 foot 196, but 77 break tackles, 77 trucking. I see him as like a power back type guy. And he only has 61 strength, so if he can get stronger, I think it could be a good power running back for this team. So that'll do it for the recruiting special. I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure to hit the like button and subscribe. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to the 4 gentlemen who helped me in this video as well. And as always, have a good one. Peace out.
I'm a Barbie girl in the Barbie world. Laughing plastic, it's fantastic. You can brush my hair, undress me everywhere. Imagination, life is your creation.
Yo, hey, man!